and welcome to this video where I talk about how I have aphantasia and I'm a writer and the struggles that come with that, because it seems to me, and I'm also an artist, so I'm also going to be talking about the struggles of being an artist and a writer with aphantasia. So there's a lot that goes into it. I'm no professional. This is just how I work. This is just how I function, let's put it that way. So I have no script for this, or no bullet points. That's really what my scripts are. But this is just talking about the struggles that I have, and I'm doing this right after finishing typing up like chapter 10 of my third book. There's a spectrum for aphantasia, I believe, and so let's start by talking about what aphantasia is. Aphantasia is when you have issues seeing things, visual things in your head. Now, it is on a spectrum for a lot of people. It's different for everyone. I have what I would call total and complete aphantasia, in which I can't see anything. Some people have a fuzzy image. Some people can sort of see it. I have complete aphantasia where I can't see anything in my mind's eye. I can't visualize anything, no matter how hard I try. It's just black. And I also, now I know some Aphantasiacs do have vivid dreams and do have vivid visual dreams. And the thing is, I have vivid auditory dreams, but I don't have visual dreams. Like, it's literally just, I hear everything, and I can sort of sense that things are moving in my dreams, but I can't actually see any of it. Like, it's just blackness. So a lot of people have different forms of it, and so I see nothing. All I see is black. Black, that's it. Now, getting into that is, a lot of people would be like, well, how do you enjoy reading? And I also don't have an inner monologue, so I just enjoy reading, because it's hard to explain what happens in my head, because there's just like utter silence. We're gonna get into the category of how do I think, and frankly, it's just a sense of knowing. For me, it's just a sense of knowing this, knowing that. I don't speak in my head. There's no monologue. There's no visuals by it. It's just, I know it. It's just like knowledge is there, and I know it. However, for reading, drawing, and writing, I have managed over the years to figure out a way to use any other senses that I have in my head. Because you don't just have visual senses, and you don't have just auditory senses. You can feel things around in your head. So, essentially, you gotta work with what you have. And I trained my blind mind's eye to basically feel shapes. I can't see anything. It's like I'm looking into a dark room, and I can feel that there's someone there. I can't see them. I have somehow trained my my blind mind's eye to be able to feel for the shape of things and feel how they move, and that in turn, that also translates to how things move in real life, and so I can be able to feel that in my head. That's essentially how I do, like, action sequences and stuff. However, if you're still confused, I don't know how else to explain it, So, I'm sorry, good luck. Let's just put it this way. Having aphantasia and wanting to do creative things has been quite the challenge in my life. And so I've had to work with what I do have. I don't think about what I don't have. I think about what I do have, and I use that to my advantage. Now, I'm pretty sure I said this in a earlier video about me having aphantasia, and that's kind of what spurred on this video. Was I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to bring to attention what it's that just because someone has aphantasia doesn't mean they can't be creative. And so that's kind of something I want to bring up, because I am hella creative. I paint, I do digital art, I draw, I write books. I have a wild imagination. It's just not a visual imagination, if that makes sense. I have all of these ideas. And the reason I can remember all of my ideas is because I just know that they're there. I know what they are. Having aphantasia doesn't mean you can't, do creative things. I am proof of that. And there are many, many artists out there who don't have who can't see anything visually. And frankly, that's also where things like these little mannequins come in handy. Is if I'm having issues feeling out a shape of how a pose works, I have this little thing. I also have a male version, but I have this little thing to help me figure it out. In fact, I used this to help me figure out the hand shapes for my painting, for the sketch of that. So I used this for that. Granted, I should really use the male one more often, since I can draw the female form really easily. It's the male form's a little harder. Granted, also the male forms only come in muscular men types.
I'm dying. Help me.
And some of my characters, they're not very muscular, so I can't draw all these muscles around this man. Yeah, this is why they stay put, because certain parts can fall. But yeah, I have these, and a lot of people will use wooden ones that aren't as hyper realistic as these ones here, because these ones are as realistic as you're getting from mannequins and stuff for drawing. And this is as realistic as you're getting. It's pretty realistic. But there are other ones, like these wooden ones, which I'm probably going to just show a picture on the screen now. And those are what I was shown in my art classes and what I had to use in my art classes. And I didn't find that they helped that much. Because I couldn't visualize hands and fingers, and these. I'm gonna take the top off here. I have these little hand attachments. I have all of these attachments so I can figure out how the fuck a hand works, because hands are the bane of my existence. I may have two hands, but I cannot visualize them. Honestly, these are the best. These are a thankful gift, because I can continue to use my own style, but I can actually see what a pose should look like. I can actually see what it will look like, or what the pose will look like in the end. And it really helps. So using tools that you can get and using what senses you do have in your head is honestly your best bet, your best option for doing anything artistic. Now, that is drawing based. Now, this video is more about writing. And so, writing, I've had to, because I've trained my brain in art, in a way of artistry, I have been able to implement that into my writing. I have started packing, so I don't actually have any of my sketches with me right now, but I sketch out everything I possibly can. I sketch out clothing designs, I sketch out sword weapon designs. I do all of that. So I can describe it cuz now I see it right in front of me and I've drawn it. And the amount of variations that go through it, so much. But because I have trained myself in the way of an artist, I have been able to use that to implement it into my drawing. Into my writing, if I can't describe something off the top of my head by just like feel or just knowing what it looks like, because a lot of clothing that I do is like medieval. If I just like take a few pictures, sort of figure out take the top from one picture of like a medieval dress and then take the bottom of another picture, then describe it like that, then it's completely easy, fine. Sometimes I have to draw it. And that's because I've trained myself to know what things, to be able to draw things without having seen them visually. And that's honestly a really good skill for an Aphantasiac to have. And it actually helps me write. It helps me to be able to see my world. Now, I will not lie and say that certain things I still can't draw, or I haven't trained myself to be able to draw. And frankly, it's a huge part of my worlds, which is palaces, landscapes. I'm terrible at doing them. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But because I can just look up a bunch of landscapes, I can look up a bunch of palaces and castles and pictures of them that other people have drawn, I can basically describe one in my book. Of course, I don't actually describe them because I avoid that like the plague when I'm writing. So there are quite a few limitations, but honestly, do you need me to describe a castle? Do you? Do you need me to describe the exact layout of this palace? I don't think you do. And so you can come up with your own layout. I don't really have one. I still don't have a layout for the Illyrian Palace, despite the fact that we spent the entire first book in that palace. I don't have a layout for it. I just like briefly explain going to this room, going to this area, going here, going there. Like, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna do a layout. And frankly, that's also why with every one of my books, there's a map. Because I need to know what my world looks like. I need to know all of this other stuff. Like, if I don't have a map, then I'm lost. I don't know what's happening. I don't know where everything is. I really don't know anything. And so, yeah, you have to do a bit more work when you have Aphantasia and you want to be a writer. Especially a writer of fantasy. Like, you have to do a lot more work in trying to be able to see what your world looks like, if only by creating a map or drawing out all of the clothing that your characters wear, or just drawing out whatever you need. Like, even if it's bad, even if it's really bad, I do suggest you draw it. And if you need, just print off a picture of a simple mannequin. So that you can draw the clothing styles. Or go over that mannequin so you can draw your character. And it doesn't have to be good. You just have to be able to discern what it is, and then you can describe it. Like, that's all you need. And so anyone with aphantasia who wants to be an artist but thinks that they can't because they can't visualize, or who wants to be a writer but they don't know how to be a writer because they can't visualize what the story that they want to write. You can do it. You can figure out a way around it. Just use what senses are available to you. That's all you should be doing. And all, like, just because you can't visualize doesn't mean it has to be a hindrance. It can be a superpower. Like, yes, I can't see what anything looks like before I draw it. But you know what? That's a part of the fun. That's a part of, like, doing it. In fact, this painting that I'm working on, that I have been working on for the last, like, month, or at least trying to get to, I don't know what it's going to look like in the end product. I have no idea. I don't even know what colors I'm going to use. I will get to see it come to light with the rest of you. It'll be an experience for all of us. Yeah, being a writer with aphantasia certainly has limits, has its problems, has its limitations. It's challenging, but if like I have, learn to use those challenges, learn to use what you do have and not so much what you don't have. Be able to work around it. I believe you could write a really good story or draw a really great picture, because frankly, art, just practice. Writing, it's just practice. Once you figure out a way that works for you, you can do whatever you want with it. You could literally create masterpieces, and it doesn't matter if you can't see it. And so, yeah, this video had no sort of rhyme or reason. I just wanted to talk about aphantasia and how it affects me as a writer and artist. And I wanna bring attention to it because I don't think enough people talk about it, or how different it is from person to person. And I think we need to talk about more creative people who have this problem or this limitation, but who manage to work around it. So, yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like. If you want to see more content from me, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you get notified when I post new videos. If you want to support me, go buy my book, pre-order my second book, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!